Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey!
It's that great day, or that great week of the year, where we get to talk about the Rumble.
It's the great time of year.
To be fair, next week we get to talk about the Rumble again, but this is the week where we get to speculate, we get to throw caution to the wind and just throw random predictions out there. Okay? Carlito's winning the Rumble this year. I'm just putting it out there.
Alright, let's go. Let's get started.
Let's do it. Let's get past the Rumble matches. Let's put them to the side. We'll leave them there.
Yeah. The borrow phase that I would have to pay $1 million if I actually caught. Let's get ready to rumble.
Well, I'll censor that. Let's get ready to beep. It's fun. It's fun. But let's talk about some of these championship matches that have already been announced. As always, we are recording this show before the SmackDown, before the pay-per-view. So if a new title match comes up, or new entrants for the Rumbles, or stuff like that, we don't have that info heading into this. So we're just going ahead with what info we have at the time, and the info we have today is that there will be a women's tag team championship match, Asuka and Charlotte Flair defending their titles against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the previous champions.
With all the matches on here, this is probably the most disappointing match for me.
There is only 5.
Yes. I don't have any idea why they're doing this. I assumed that we'd moved past Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the tag team championship titles. Apparently not. That said, I don't see Asuka and Charlotte losing.
It's a really weird one because, again, the women's tag titles aren't necessarily being the current propulsion force behind Asuka or Charlotte's current feuds, because, you know, Charlotte Flair is currently feuding with Lacey Evans, and Asuka is currently feuding with Alexa Bliss at the moment, and it's like, they're distracted, they'll go off, they'll do their own thing, and then they'll come back and they'll defend the titles here against the former champions. But yeah, you've got the Riot Squad sitting there, you have Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce, as much as I hate the fact that Royce is being teamed back up. You got Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. You got quite a few options to go with women's tag teams, and it is a little disappointing to see them go back with this one.
Yeah. But it is what it is, and maybe we'll get like an elimination chamber women's tag match at the next pay-per-view, and that can be where we can get all the different teams that we actually want to face Charlotte and Asuka involved in the match, and that's where we can split Asuka and Charlotte from these tag titles.
That would be pretty cool.
And maybe give them to an actual tag team.
I don't know
not
what
a tag team, not a tag team that has a women's champion on it.
Yeah, that's the most important factor for me. Because one thing to note about this match, and I don't know if it will change its card placement, because I believe announced on, I want to say The Bump, one of the WWE programming options, they announced that the Women's Royal Rumble will open the show and the Men's Royal Rumble will close the show. I believe that is correct info. Sorry if you hear me rapidly clicking around as I try to confirm my info. But one thing to note is that Asuka, obviously as a champion, is not in the match, but Charlotte, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler are all confirmed entrants into the Women's Royal Rumble. So they're gonna be pulling double duty. They're gonna be coming out of that Rumble match earlier in the night. Presuming I've got the match order right, I haven't been able to quickly find anything. And straight from that into their tag team championship match.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if that has an effect on the match. Especially if, say, Charlotte comes out like number 2 or number 3 and has to go like 50 minutes until being one of the last to eliminate, or vice versa if it's like Shayna Baszler in that situation.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a way that they could build up sort of a disadvantage for one team or the other. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up pulling off between these two teams. But I'm with you. I don't think the titles are gonna change hands here. Which world title do you want to talk about first? Obviously, we'll talk about both.
Let's get the less interesting one out of the way. Let's get Goldberg out of the way.
Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre singles match for the WWE Championship.
I will say, the promo Drew had was great on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to see him back, see him healthy, and all that. I wonder what the program would have been like had Drew not had, unfortunately, to have to take a 2-week vacation.
Yeah.
That said, I am interested in the match. I think it'll be a powerhouse match. Is it going to be long? No, because that's just not what Goldberg does. I think this will be about a 5-minute match max.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not any longer than that.
And I think this will be an excellent little buffer match to go in between the women's Royal Rumble and the women's Tag Rumble match to give them just a little bit of an extra breather. That said, I think Drew retains.
I hope Drew retains. I mean, I completely and utterly believe that he will retain. There is no way he could lose. He is the absolute best of all time, and he will, of course, win in this match against Goldberg. Please don't hurt me, Goldberg, for saying that.
Yeah,
if you hear this and you come over and beat the poop out of me, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry.
Well, we'll have to see, but I'm expecting a powerful match. I think there'll be a few spears, couple claymores, stuff like that. It won't.
Let's be honest. You probably just listed the entire match contents there.
Yeah. We'll have a stare down. We'll have a claymore. Then we'll have a spear. Then we'll have another spear. Then we'll have another claymore, and then a third claymore and 1, 2, 3.
We might even have a jackhammer thrown in there. Maybe. But yeah, I you're not expecting McIntyre and Goldberg to go in there and pull off a 5-star classic. But you are hoping to be sports entertained for the 5 minutes that they do end up putting on. And hopefully Drew McIntyre can drag Goldberg across the finish line and pull something off that's worth watching.
I'm going to say Drew McIntyre's the only way Miz has a chance if he wants to cash in.
That is true. The Miz has been threatening to cash in after this match, so we'll have to wait and see. Do you think Drew McIntyre walks out the building with the WWE Championship?
That I'm less than sure on.
Okay.
I mean, with Goldberg, anything is possible. He could definitely win the title. Drew, I want Drew to win because I want that bragging rights for him. Because not many people have beaten Goldberg, clean or otherwise. So I want that notch in his belt to kind of cap off that amazing year he's had.
Yeah.
Since the last Royal Rumble. So if Goldberg wins, Miz better just pack it up and go home, because he's not going to walk out with the title. If Drew wins there, I could definitely see Miz cashing in.
Okay.
Although, if I'm Miz, I'd probably have my eyes on the other title. That is, if the champion wasn't a heel. But I would have my eyes on the other match, because that's more likely to produce a weekend champion.
Mm-hmm. Well, that other match is a last man standing match, which does indicate, usually you are pretty beaten up even if you do win. But Roman Reigns will be defending his WWE Universal Championship against Kevin Owens for the 3rd time, I believe.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to go out left field here with my pick.
Don't do it.
I'm calling a no contest.
Okay. In
other words, both men cannot answer the 10 count.
I thought you were about to tell me you thought KO was going to walk out with the title.
No, I'm not that crazy. That's also why I would say if I miss, I'm more interested in that match.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I could definitely see them pulling a HBK Triple H and having them both just not able the answer to the 10 at the end.
They have been playing pretty even between the two. Despite the fact that Reigns is 2-0 and up in their clashes, it has been heavily due to outside interference, and even then, still a pretty close win. So I could definitely see this being a case where it is a close win again, or one that, as you say, goes to a no contest. It's that close you can't call it. And now we're roughly halfway into the show, and usually I will have messaged by now in the group chat. I'd have gone, "Hey Josh, what song we playing this week?" But I've had to rush the recording times around a little bit, and as such, I have not asked it. So hopefully...
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
There we go. I was like, hopefully in this preamble stall here that Josh has come up with a song.
Yeah, we gotta honor the person who's won the most Rumbles.
That's a good one. And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and it is Rumble time! Men's or women's, what you want to go?
Alright, let's go the women's.
Okay. Currently announced is 12 of the 30 entrants for the Women's Royal Rumble matchup. Those wrestlers are as follows: Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Peyton Royce, Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Tamina, and of course the 18 unannounced competitors at this time.
Alright. I'm going to go with Shayna Baszler.
Okay, that's a choice.
As my favorite to win. And for a dark horse, let's go with Ruby Riott.
Okay. I think there's a couple opportunities with this match, obviously. You talk about a Shayna Baszler win there with their tag title match later on in the night. It would be pretty interesting to head into that with either Baszler or Jax having won the Rumble. Or I don't want it, but Charlotte Flair having won the Rumble as well. And presumably picking Asuka as their champion that they'll face at WrestleMania, and then facing her in that tag match. I could definitely see that being something they want to pull off. If they do want to commit entirely to the Sasha Banks Bayley thing that they have cooled off a lot. We haven't been as hard on the storyline as we could have been leading up to the Rumble or even into WrestleMania. We could have a Bayley win here. That could go that way. Something that is heating up, literally, is Alexa Bliss and The Fiend and this Randy Orton stuff. It wouldn't be a crazy surprise to me to see Bliss standing tall again.
But I would have picked Bliss if it hadn't been for the title match they had on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I'm convinced Bliss doesn't need to Rumble to face the title for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I think I would actually have Shayna actually challenge Sasha at WrestleMania. I think that would... I know we've been we've got to have Shayna versus Asuka all year.
We have said it for 12 months. Pretty sure we said it at the last Rumble.
Yeah.
You're denying me that?
So I'm picking Shayna to win, but I'm picking her to go then face Sasha Banks at WrestleMania.
You just want me to absolutely fumble over my words when I have to talk about the match where Sasha Banks faces Shayna Baszler. And, all the S's and the B's all in one sentence.
Yeah, that's why I also, my sentimental favorite actually is Bianca. But I'm not 100% convinced she'll win. I think it's a strong chance that she could win. 'Cause if she wins, I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
But I think for my lock 'em down pick will be Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, I'm with that as well. When I was throwing out options, really the only one I had left was going to be Bianca Belair. She's getting a little bit of something at the moment. She's being featured here, there, and everywhere, so it wouldn't be crazy to me if she has a breakout performance here. Might not lead to a win, but could lead to a couple of eliminations in her favor here.
Yeah, I think Bianca. I think actually I have Bianca Belair being the runner-up.
Okay.
So, and I really enjoyed the little chronicle they had on her on WWE Network.
Yeah.
That was a really good episode. And then, like, if we're not going to do tag titles for the Riot Squad, give me Ruby Riot in a shock at the world moment.
It would shock the world, I'll give you that. And I guess just one thing I do have to note as well, just because, it's been floating around on the internet, got to address it, the opportunity to have Rhea Ripley come in and win this year's Rumble.
Yeah, it would surprise me a little bit, but I could see her coming into the Rumble and eliminating Charlotte.
It's all for that revenge Ripley-Charlotte match.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that at this time, as time of recording, we only know 12 people in the
Yeah.
So it gives us a lot of leeway in, well, this is all we knew. If somebody who's not been yet announced ends up the winner.
You don't get to use that excuse, because what we're going to do for both of these Rumbles, we're going to schoolyard pick 3 people each. They don't have to be announced, but we're going to see who can get the winners. And it's going to be a fight to see who picks who. But yeah, I think I balance between 2, and we'll get to that pick just after this thought here. I like 2 different trains of thought. I really like the Rumbles where we know almost all the competitors and they draw the ping pong balls out, and it's, they fight for numbers sometimes, and I find that stuff really fun, but I also find the knowing almost nobody and, 15 of the people being surprise, not necessarily legends or wasted spots, but just surprises that you didn't expect to be there because you don't have the full list in front of you. And so I find it hard sometimes to balance between those two, where I love not knowing half the field, but I also love the whole ping-pong drawing, fighting for spots, winner gets number 30, loser gets number 1 kind of matches. So we're obviously not going to get full-on ping-pong, so therefore I have to go with the not knowing half the field is all the fun. So I'm quite happy at the moment to only know 12 of the 30 entrants for the Women's Royal Rumble match. But now that I've given time to think with my preamble crazy thoughts, it's time for some schoolyard pick. And because I'm polite, do you want first pick of the men's or do you want first pick of the women's?
Let's go women's because we haven't even talked about the men yet.
Okay, so you can take first pick of the women's match then. Who do you want? Who is your winner? I think you've already listed who it is.
Yeah, Shayna Baszler is my lockdown pick.
Okay.
To win.
So you're taking Shayna Baszler. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna go with the spoiler. I'm gonna take Bianca Belair.
Fair enough. All right. I'll take.
You could take Ruby.
Yeah, I could, but I have no faith in him actually doing it. That's why it was my dark horse pick. I'll take Alexa.
Oh, that was gonna be mine. It's getting intense here now. Okay, you taking Alexa? I will take Rhea Ripley on
That's
the
what
chance.
I thought you were going to take.
I was hoping to leave her till 3rd pick, but you took Bliss, forcing me to pick early.
All right.
Your final pick.
My final pick.
We can take goof picks if you want to pick dark horses.
Yeah.
Because I got one.
I have, and I am going to take Dakota Kai.
Okay. Let me find the hang up button here to kick you off this call.
That's what you were going to do, wasn't it?
I'm going to take Raquel Gonzalez as my 3rd pick. Just because you took Dakota Kai. I'm not going to take Ruby Riott, because much like you, I have no faith in that ever happening. I think Raquel Gonzalez has a greater chance than Ruby Riott does, okay?
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised neither of us took Charlotte.
I think that the personal feelings might be muddying that waters. Alrighty.
Well, I thought with my last one, it wasn't just to take your girl. It was because I was thinking I wanted to pick somebody from NXT that could then use it to challenge the NXT champion.
Yeah.
And
Good pick.
Dakota was a logical pick.
I'll let you have it. You have more faith in her than I do.
Aren't you shocked that I didn't pick Shotzi then?
Yeah, that's
right.
fair. I thought maybe if you were going to pick Ruby, I was going to take Peyton, but if you take Dakota, I got to take Raquel.
All right. Well, I think it's time we talk about the men.
The men's Royal Rumble match, we have 17 of the 30 entrants announced as time of recording. We got Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Otis, The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Shinsuke Nakamura, Big E, John Morrison, Sheamus, Mustafa Ali, and Edge, and of course 13 unannounced competitors at this time. Where do we start?
This is going to be a very interesting match. Because I really don't have a favorite on this one.
Yeah, like as I was reading down those names of the 17 entrants announced, a solid 10 of them could probably win this. And that doesn't include the unannounced people.
Yeah. Like I just now realized, looking at the list, Keith Lee isn't announced.
No.
And I thought he was announced this whole time.
He was going to be your top pick.
No. Actually... I actually have AJ Styles as my top pick.
Okay. Yeah, a couple storylines I want to mention just coming into this. Obviously, The Miz still got his briefcase. Miz and Morrison might have something up their sleeves in terms of a breakup or something. Sheamus has been pushing pretty hard in Drew's absence, and even when Drew was around there a couple weeks ago, getting up into those sort of Keith Lee levels. Edge coming back from injury into the Rumble. Big E just picking up the title off of Sami Zayn, who's also in it. Shinsuke Nakamura getting a bit of a push. A bit of a face turn coming into it as partner Cesaro. Also getting a push against Daniel Bryan, who's also in the match. Jey Uso, we wouldn't have even been talking about a year ago as a Rumble competitor. Or not as a threat, but dude's been killing it lately, is up there. Randy Orton in main event feuds. AJ Styles has been that gatekeeper that people have to beat to get into it. Bobby Lashley's got the Hurt Business sitting behind him. But the number one storyline that I want to focus just for a little bit, so we don't have a whole lot of time left, is Mustafa Ali beating the ever-loving poop out of Xavier Woods and, quote-unquote, taking his spot as sort of a throwback to Kofi Kingston taking Mustafa Ali's spot and leading into Kofi Mania all those 2 or 3 years ago. And really, that to me is just some great symmetry with Mustafa Ali doing that now to Xavier Woods and calling it out as well. Mustafa Ali's great at just making sure you know that it was actually a part of it and everything.
Yeah. I will give him props for that. That said, Mustafa Ali's not winning.
Come on.
The Untold episode with AJ Styles on the network.
Mm-hmm.
That was so amazing. And it was while I watched that I realized AJ Styles hasn't had many Rumble matches since then. Because he's been in the world title match every year. Almost.
Yeah.
I think it would be an amazing moment to make him a Rumble winner.
I think he definitely... The role he's been playing heading into this as that gatekeeper, like he's single-handedly stopped like 3 people from entering this Rumble because he's beaten them and they haven't got a spot. That if he's not winning this, he's a lock for Final Four. Like he is going to be a featured superstar in this Rumble.
So the question is, who becomes the final 2 person?
Who becomes
We know it
Roman
won't be
Reigns?
Roman Reigns this year.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns has been that the last, 4 years?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Alright, so let's, I guess, do our schoolyard pick'ems now.
Well, I feel like you've already thrown out AJ Styles so heavily that it would be cruel of me to take AJ Styles. So I'll let you take first pick and have AJ Styles as your option.
Yeah, AJ Styles is my clear-cut favorite, so I'll pick him.
I'm going to go with my boy Sheamus.
So you'll join the ranks of a 2-time winner?
Yep.
Alright. For my number 2 pick, I will pick Shinsuke.
Yeah, Your word I can't say on radio. I think he's had a real good push. I think he's got a good shot at it. I'll let you know my thinking for the second person here for me. I'm looking at Orton. I think the guy's had a great year. It would be an awesome reward for him here to win the Rumble. But then I look down at the newest announced competitor and I see Edge sitting there. And, they've still got unfinished business there. They still got something going. And it makes me struggle to pick either of them. I want to, but it's making me struggle. So I'm going to pick Cesaro instead. I'm going true dark horse on my pick there.
Alright. I think I will go a dark horse.
Okay.
And take, who's not announced yet, so I'm assuming he'll be announced Friday. I will take King Corbin.
Okay, that is pretty dark horse.
As my third person, and would become the fourth person to have won King of the Ring and Royal Rumble.
Ooh. You've thrown me off with that pick. I'm like, he's gone wild. I never would have expected that one. I'm going to go wild too. I'm going to put in for my third guy. I'm going to stick to the European region. I got an Irishman. I got a Swiss. Let's get another Irishman. Let's put Finn Balor in there as my number 3. Done. It's insane. It makes no sense whatsoever, and therefore it fits me perfectly. So just to run down our final predictions before we run out of time here quickly. For the Women's Royal Rumble, Josh has Shayna Baszler, Alexa Bliss, and Dakota Kai. I have Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Raquel Gonzalez. For the men's, Josh has AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, or King Corbin, while I have Sheamus, Cesaro, or Finn Balor. That's all we've got time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
Visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Radio, Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling Radio. And we'll see you next week with all the results, and we'll see just how wrong we were.